What's up, guys? Adam Green here with No More News. Thank you for joining me today, Monday, May 12th, 2025. There's the background music. I couldn't hear it. Hope you all are doing well. Got a huge show today. Going to cover some of the developments over the weekend. Going to be streaming every day this week. Our lead story tonight is NapkinGate. All of the Putin shills promoting this latest hoax. We have more of the unfolding of Gog and Magog war. Trump, a lot of rumor of Trump turning against Israel, abandoning Israel. And we're going to discuss some Christian denial, as well as some other news. It's going to be a big show. Wouldn't be possible without you guys and your support. Down in the description below, you can find the powerchat.live/knowmorenews link. It's also pinned to the live chat where we're streaming on Odysee and Rumble and on X. And if you want to participate with the show with a comment, it will be read by the voice. And if you want to financially contribute to the show and make these streams possible, it means the world to me, and I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So, first story, you guys like the meme, the thumbnail today? This is what I saw. A bunch of very sus. Yo.
$5 Not a Shabbos Goy challenge.
Not a Shabbos Goy challenge. Yes, as always. $5 to confirm you're not Jewish, 5 shekels. I thought I had the power chat turned off, by the way. Maybe I have to. Oh, you got to click save. I see. Okay. So I just wanted to pause it for my intro at least. But appreciate that. Who was that? HTXJRM for getting the shekel challenge going. So, okay, no, it's background intro off. One-man show, guys. One-man producer here. So I put together this meme. A bunch of very sus attacking all these guys because they're opposition to Putin. Look, they even got the Ukraine flag. I believe this is after a meeting with Ukraine. Macron, member, was meeting with Trump. He talked about all the support of Ukraine he was giving. Same with Starmer and these leaders. So, of course, all of the big Putin shills and Russian shills come out and have been running this NapkinGate hoax, claiming that they were all, I'm sure they were all just doing coke and left their bag of coke out on the table with a bunch of press taking photos in the room, or I guess this is on a train. And all the usual suspects promoting this. We'll play the video here too. So because they take their trash, their dirty handkerchief or tissue, and put it away in their pocket for the photo op so they don't have a bunch of trash on their table. Everybody's saying, look, Alex Jones leading the charge for this. 72,000 likes. Developing scandal. Macron, Starmer, and Merz caught on video their return from Kiev, a bag of white powder on the table. Macron quickly pockets it. Merz hides the spoon. No explanation given. Like he has to say, hey, guys, I'm just putting away this dirty tissue that I blew my nose in. No explanation given. Zelensky, known cocaine enthusiast, had just hosted them. Really? Because there's been a couple videos of him rubbing his nose. Guess what? I stream almost every day. Sometimes I feel like I got a booger or a hair in my nose. And you don't just want to go straight up excavating with your finger when you're in front of a bunch of people. So you rub it like that. You sniff it in. You blow out. You see if it's you got a backdoor hanger in there. Like, come on. You never had an itchy nose before? You never felt like you had a booger in your nose? You wonder, oh, can everybody see the booger flopping in my nose? It's so stupid. All 3 of these leaders look completely cracked out. Jones is such a fraud. So here, we'll watch the video first. And then we'll show you the close-ups.
It's a long walk. I'll be back in Poland.
And through my bathroom, huh?
Like, you can see, this whole room is full of press. You really expect them to be doing a bunch of coke and leave the thing out on the table in front of a bunch of press that were already in the room? It's such a stupid claim, and yet all the shills are running with it.
It's literally. We came through Germany. And then we made it to France.
Bedroom and
We got through the border.
Right.
They don't seem.
Make a photo and after that you will be allowed to have a drink.
Yeah.
So because they're all taking photos of him, he picks up the tissue and removes it and smiles. So you can hear all the cameras clicking. Oh, look, pretty suspicious. He removed the dirty napkin in front of him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
This is all just the Putin shills trying to shame, smear and slander the people who are opposing Putin. That's what we're seeing here. That's why it gets 72,000 likes. Probably many of them Russian bots. All the usual suspects. Patrick Bet David, same thing. He says, no one noticed grabbing a bag of white powder. I'm sure it was just creatine or collagen or peptide. It's a crumpled piece of paper or a tissue. Scott Ritter, of course, 61,000, top Russian propagandist. Scott Ritter says, if the president of the United States was caught with a bag of cocaine and related paraphernalia, we'll talk about the supposed paraphernalia, every media outlet in America would be going apeshit. The president, or maybe just everybody knows it's a tissue, and they're not falling for your stupid active measures, Russian propaganda bullshit. The president of France, Germany, and Great Britain get caught in a flagrant snorting coke. And there's deathly... Come on, dude, please. Ritter's married to a Russian asset? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And he's like some type of pedophile rap sheet. And there's deathly silence from their respective media. It's as if everyone understands Europe is being run by a bunch of drug addicts and cokeheads. Sure. 62,000 likes. When I sign on to Rumble today to set up my stream, top featured video, 30,000 viewers. Russell Brand, cocaine train to Ukraine. Of course. Here's your supposed bag of cocaine, which is clearly a napkin crumpled up. Red-headed libertarianism is flooded with Russian propagandists and Soviet communist. She was, of course, regular and made largely famous on the Tim Pool show. Tim Pool, who was getting big Russian money through Tenet Media. World War III will be fueled entirely by cocaine. It's all their fault. Nothing to do with Putin's invasion. Chase Geiser of InfoWars, WW3 is a hell of a drug. Look closely. What does it look like to you? Clearly a napkin. It's not a Coke baggie. A little Ziploc Coke baggie has like the Ziploc on one side and baggie on the other. This is a folded up napkin. It's so obviously a folded up napkin. It's a cocaine rock made to look like a tissue. It's so obvious, and all these shameless people don't care. All they care is promoting their disinfo. This is Russian gay ops, and all the people pushing it are highly sus as Russian agents. Harrison Smith, InfoWars, he says, this looks exactly like my friends and I in high school getting caught smoking weed in the garage. Or he just got his dirty tissue off out of the scene for the photo op. That would be like 4 ounces. I know, yeah. Nobody carries around Coke baggies that big either. You're right. Yeah, I'm sure. Like, they just accidentally, all 3 of them forgot to leave their Coke bag on the table in front of a packed little room of cameras. I'm totally sure. And look at this. They're also trying to claim that this thing right here is a Coke spoon. I could tell right what it was when I first saw it. It's a mixer. One of these little straw mixer things. Harrison, InfoWars, this is pathetic. This is so transparent. Alex Jones has just been memeing on it nonstop. He says a cocaine-fueled megalomaniac attempt to trigger worldwide nuclear war now is on public display. So helping Ukraine defend themselves from Russian invasion is causing, this is what they always do. They always project all of the blame and all of the escalation onto Ukraine instead of Putin. See Through It All says, these guys aren't even pro-Europe voices, but the Russian slander forces us to look like we are, right? Alex Jones, breaking, it's Coke. Breaking, you're a shameless hack, Jones. Oh wait, where's my image? Literally all these guys. Hinkle. I didn't check, but can somebody check and then share in the chat? Stu Peters. Is Stu Peters saying this? Is Stu Peters pushing the NapkinGate hoax? Yo, Zornder Edom. Oh, we're going to play these in a second. Hair is very Mugabe. It's a little Mugabe today. I shouldn't have brushed it. I just left it bedhead exactly when I woke up. Yeah, Russia is never the bad guy. Okay, Harrison, it looks to me like they're just getting some of their rubbish, some of their trash out of the shot for the photos. Yeah. Jenna says, let me just put my $10,000 worth of cocaine on the table in a train with journalists. Right. Alex Jones says, I wonder what Zelensky's response to Cocaine Gate will be. So they take an hour-long interview and they edit together all the times he like touches his head. Like they could do that to me too. Rub my nose like that. Oh, look, he's on coke. That's what they do with this type of shit. Cutting down an hour of stuff to 20 seconds.
Просто так говорить буду ceasefire, повинні бути на овали, бо ми їх
You know what I get all the time too? He's got a mustache. Sometimes this is why I like to keep it kind of short. If my mustache gets too long, a hair will like flip over and it'll go up and stick my nose and tickle my nose. So I'll go like this to try to like brush it down. Same exact thing. And they try to make a huge thing out of this.
як третя сторона, яка має довіру. Бо в минулому там, що сказав президент Байден,
So fixing your hair.
Він мені сказав про цю свою мрію.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, hold on. I want to see what Alex Jones has to say. Let's hear the deep breakdown. Why we all need to support Putin, because they're all a bunch of cokeheads.
Something incredible happened today. Macron, Starmer, and Merz were doing a train tour of Ukraine, trying to drum up support to keep
Look, it's not a
war
tissue,
going.
it's a bag of Coke.
And the press gets invited into their train car.
Oh, it's so much Coke, guys. Look, it's a
Some of them look
napkin.
around
Oh, wait
and
a second.
moving
It's
things
my little
quickly,
baggie of
furtively
Coke.
trying to hide
Oh,
them.
don't
And when
see
you
it, guys.
zoom
Look,
in,
I
it
hide
looks
this on
like
the
a
cameras.
little cocaine spoon, a little paper of cocaine. And
Paper of cocaine? Was that a Freudian slip?
all of them look like they're lit up like Christmas trees.
Come on.
But regardless of what you think happened there, whether they were hiding cocaine or something else, maybe
Look at me, I'm a Coke dealer. Look at that. Ooh. Look at all that. Look at that.
It's the media,
Pure
the corporate
Colombian
media
gold.
response that's really revealing. I just reposted the video 4 or 5 hours ago. It's already got like 8 million views. And I noticed that Grok came in and said, hey, this has been
The spoon was a stirrer. The cocaine was a tissue. Yeah, everybody sees right through your fucking Putin bullshit.
fact-checked. This isn't even a real video, which they admit is a real video. They're saying the interpretation isn't accurate. But Grok just says, and usually Grok's pretty good,
The mustache
Oh, no, it's
hair up
fake.
the nose
Reuters
is such
said-
a thing. Yeah, I
says
hate
the
it.
video's fake. No, they're saying our interpretation is wrong. Now, think about this. This is Reuters that got caught getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the Biden administration to target Elon Musk, his company, his family.
Right. Alex Jones's son converted to Russian Orthodox Church. Alex Jones's manager is a Russian, born in Russia, and worked for Russian military, I believe, too. What was I going to say? He hires Jay Dyer for the fourth hour. He's constantly been having Dugin on for the years, always shilling for Putin. He brings on that Russian like arms dealer that got released all the time.
Family for destruction the last 4 years. And then it also got Pentagon money for widespread deception operations. And then Reuters reported on itself on that and said, well, we don't mean that when we say that.
This is what Lauren Chen from Tenet Media was doing too. While she was being paid big money through Russia, she was doing videos about CIA propaganda and American propaganda. While he's pushing Russian propaganda.
This is the ultimate gaslighting, ladies and gentlemen.
You are ultimate gaslighter.
Who've just been with them. The famous cocaine aficionado, and all the videos of him just tweaking out of his mind. Looks more like meth to me. So,
dude, they show him with an earpiece.
There's been studies out about Congress that upwards of
anybody can edit up anybody scratching their face or touching their nose. This is like the schizo shit, like the worst of the worst conspiracy people. This is a napkin, guys. It's a folded up napkin. This is the fact that so many people can run with this. I say this all the time too. People that seem so emotionally involved with always hating on Zelensky and running cover for Putin. It's just like it's a dead giveaway.
We're on serious drugs. It's even worse in Europe. We need what Trump's called for. Mandatory drug testing of any major.
And you know what? World leaders probably do drugs. I don't doubt it. I mean, Elon's doing ketamine and smoking weed on Joe Rogan. Is Alex Jones having a crash out about that? Maybe these guys do coke. I don't know, but I know that's a fucking napkin on the table. And I know it's normal that in you're doing interviews all the time. Sometimes you're going to get an itch on your nose.
I mean, they want us to do it, to be a taxi driver or whatever, or to be an FBI agent. We have serious drug addiction going on, not just in our government, but in others. It's well known that Biden was being shot up with methamphetamine. So was Robert F. Kennedy's uncle.
Yeah, people also have allergies and get sinus infections.
JFK. So this is something that comes down to the establishment corporate media telling us that
trying to frame it like I can't even listen anymore. Trying to frame this as it's just like out of their mind, coked up crazies that want to blow up the world. Well, he won't ever talk about the fucking rabbis and the Christian Zionists that want to blow up the world, or Putin and Dugin that talk about pointing all the nukes at the West and that we're satanic and evil and singing songs about fucking holy wars. It's enough Alex for the day. Okay, does that cover it all? Did anybody tell me in the comments here? We'll do a couple of these power chats too. Anybody tell me in the comments about Stu? Let's see. Let's play these. Activate super chats. Okay, will they just go right through? Let's see. I got to play them one by one. All right, let's go. Zornder Edom, is this today? No, that was last stream. Yo.
Anonymous sent $5. Hair is very Mugabe. Love it.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Anonymous sent $5. Hair is very Mugabe. Love it.
Did you send that twice or did I just press it twice? Uh-oh.
Labrat sent $20.
Thank you, Labrat.
Doing what you're doing, Adam. Religions are mental training wheels for adults to cope with life. Even ants and monkeys show altruism. It's an innate quality of most animals.
Altruism is, right. They go, we would have no morals without it.
Anonymous sent $10 to my favorite unicorn.
Unicorn? What do you mean?
The names sent $5 on Rumble. Alex NWO is Satanic Jones kvetching about Macron alleged coke bag yet has Dugan on his show who used to be into Aleister Crowley esoteric dark magic BS.
Yeah. And it's like Jones has been an alcoholic and smoked cigarettes.
Sounds like the kosher am striking again, Adam.
Yeah, kosher, mainstream alternative media striking again. Christian Muslim controlled op. Shilling Putin controlled op.
So energetic.
Thanks, guys.
Oh,
Let's hear Harrison's spin on this.
It's a long walk.
Comrade Harrison.
And through my bathroom, huh?
It's literally. We came through Germany. And then we made it to France.
Bedroom and
We can't
So just a couple guys chumming it up, having a chuckle. And they're like, they're coked out of their mind. Look at them. Look at their jaws.
it would be a lot of a drink.
I see Jones grinding his jaw in videos too.
About 10 seconds. Watch as Mers grabs the spoon. Watch Mers's face.
Yeah, guess what? I've got all types of stuff over here on my table. I'll pick up stuff all the time. Toothpicks, paper clips, pens. I'll pick up stuff on the table in front of me sometimes too, you know? Such a big scandal.
Ooh, whoop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Have you ever seen
I'm just gonna like Google Putin napkin.
Right there.
Let's see.
the bag that quick?
Can we find a picture of Putin with a napkin in front of him?
I mean, I swear to God. I mean, it would almost be funny if it's like literally these are like middle schoolers in the garage and mom comes in and they're all like, whoops. Just we're just sitting here smiling. And they do look like they literally.
They didn't come in. The photographers were already in there.
Wearing like ill-fitting hoodies.
Yeah, Jones the drunk and Ozempic popper talking about drug use.
Oh, we're doing war.
We're doing war. No, they're resisting Putin's invasion of Ukraine. They're opposing the Soviet Union and Putin. They're opposing Russia, Iran, and China. Why are you always trying to scapegoat the West, guys? Guys that love to have Dugan on.
We're talking about war. It's obvious. And, you know, it's not the first time this type of thing has happened. Here's Jacinda Ardern, or whatever her name is the former New Zealand prime minister, who always kind of looked like a cracked out whore. But here she is, just getting her nose right before going on TV. Let's watch clip 23.
Sweet mustache.
Oh, yeah, totally normal. Totally normal. No, she's doing baseball signs. She's telling the person on second to steal third. Or she's a cokehead. It's one of those.
Hey, who wants to kick off?
Yeah. Or she's getting up on stage about to do a press conference and thinks that there's something on her face. She just took a bite of something, or her makeup's messed up. Like, so a world leader touches their face for a couple seconds, and that's all the proof you need. I guarantee you, anybody can go through and watch these guys just stream, and then edit out all the times they touch their nose and do the same shit.
Yeah.
Can you address like any of the actual geopolitical arguments, or are you just gonna make up lies that they're all on drugs? Can we say Putin's just drunk on vodka all the time because I saw him drink vodka once?
So energetic, these politicians. The French presidency has ridiculed false claims promoted on pro-Russian social media channels that President Macron snorted cocaine with Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor of Germany, aboard the train that took them.
You're pro-Russian
over the weekend.
Are you going to say that you guys aren't pro-Russian? Give me a break, InfoWars. Of course you're pro-Russian. Every day it's anti-Zelensky and pro-Putin propaganda from these idiots.
The fake news is being spread by France's enemies, both abroad and at home. We must remain vigilant against manipulation. The LSA palace posted on X after images were shared online of Macron picking up a used tissue from a table where he was sitting.
Sunday, you don't send $5. Big Jewy noses tend to get more itchy.
That's true. Conspiracy theories. Macron was trying to
they have allergies too.
Bag of cocaine while Merz was handling a white cocaine spoon when cameramen were allowed to enter the train's conference saloon. No, the bag of cocaine's definitely a tissue, which is why Macron so sneakily hides it right there.
Wasn't sneakily. They're all got cameras pointed at him. Wasn't sneaky. He said, "Let me get this dirty napkin out of the picture." I've done that before. Before a photo's taken, you clean up the table or something, or you take something off the table. You move the water bottle off the table, something like that. This is the stupidest thing.
Again, what does conspiracy theory mean anymore? What does it mean? We show a video, we look at the video, we say, here's what's happening.
All right, enough of you idiots. By the way, Starmer of England, I guess, I don't know if they're seeing the way the wind is blowing or they just realized that they've gone too far, but apparently he says that England's going to become an island of strangers. Remember, yeah, they're trying to be presentable, obviously. You're taking all these photos, they're going to be on the internet and on the cover of newspapers, you know. You move the dirty tissue. No conspiracy needed. So who is it? What was I going to say? Trudeau also came out and said the same thing. They realized that the mass immigration is
championing
not sustainable and very unpopular.
Let me put it this way. Nations depend on rules, fair rules. Sometimes they're written down, often they're not. But either way, they give shape to our values, guide us towards our rights, of course, but also our responsibilities, the obligations we owe to each other. Now, in a diverse nation like ours, and I celebrate that, these rules become even more important. Without them, we risk becoming an island of strangers, not a nation that walks forward together. So when you have an immigration system that seems almost designed to permit abuse, that encourages some businesses to bring in lower paid workers rather than invest in our young people.
And this just could be lip service.
Politicians to the British people on an entirely false premise. Then you're not championing growth. You're not championing justice or however else people defend the status quo. You're actually contributing to the forces that are slowly pulling our country apart. So yes, I believe in this. I believe we need to reduce immigration significantly. That's why some of the policies in this white paper go back nearly 3 years. Why I told the Labour Party conference, taking back control is a Labour argument. And why, most importantly of all, inward migration is already falling with this government.
Okay, well, that's headed in the right direction, even if it's just conservatives should accuse him of racism and white supremacy. Good one. Look at this old video from Congressman from India, Michigan Congressman.
And America is becoming more diverse. America is, celebrating our diversity. And our diversity is our strength. And we are seeing that diversity in academia, we have seen that in businesses, and now we are seeing that in politics. And which is really important, that we focus on and celebrate our diversity because it is the diversity that has made this America as great a country as it is.
America is becoming less white, and that's what makes this country great. He didn't say that. That's not in this clip. I was expecting him to say America's being less white, and that's why it's great. Is that another clip? Because he didn't say that. Harrison.
More diverse. America is, celebrating our diversity. And our diversity is our strength. And we are seeing that diversity.
I mean, diversity does mean it's less white, but he didn't say less white, which was what I was expecting. All right, here's a good clip I saw. See through it, all tag me on it. Brendan Martinez has on, who's this guy's name? Trevor Loudon, to talk about how Russia has targeted and infiltrated the right-wing Christians in America.
Are we going to support them from the Muslim? See, and this is what we're seeing now, but this started back in the 90s, you know, like when the Soviet Union collapsed, and I think it was more of a managed retreat than a collapse. The Russians
perestroika deception
knew that their biggest enemy were European and American conservatives. They still had their links to the left. The Russians still support the communist parties of the world today. Many of the communist parties still support Russia right up till now. So they had the left, but their enemy was the right. So how are we going to get the right on our side? Well, if we start telling them that we're going to support Christianity and Christian values and that we're going to stand against the radical gay agenda, we're going to support them from the Muslim against the Muslim hordes, etc., and we're going to say we're champions of Christianity. You know, Christians love a conversion story. They love a redemption story. So, wow, Russia, it was communist, and now Christianity's come to the fore, and Putin's a lion of Christianity. They started bringing American Christians to conferences in Georgia and Russia and that in the mid-90s, family values conferences. They started to penetrate US religious organizations that far back, and they built this constituency, especially amongst and as they championed the Orthodox Church, a lot of American conservatives actually converted to Orthodox.
Well, who's popping in my head? Alex Jones, Stu Peters. Oh, they're building so many churches, and Putin's pro-Christian, and he's a nationalist. He's a Christian nationalist.
See, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Orthodox Church at all, but I'm saying they saw that
they're KGB controlled, basically.
A more pure form of Christianity backed by the Russian state. And so this has been a nearly 30-year process, to the point now that many American Christians think that Russia is a Christian nation. Most conservatives, I would say probably 45% of conservatives have a sympathetic position to Russia, or at least not willing to get it. You know, they think Russia and Ukraine are pretty much as bad as each other. I'd say only about 40% of Western conservatives really understand to some degree that Russia is an aggressor. Russia is a danger to all of us, not just Ukraine. So this has been a pretty successful disinformation exercise. It's had tons of money behind it. It's got RT behind it.
Alex Jones used to appear on RT all the time, too.
Bunch of Westerners, academics, the Mearsheimers of the world and people like this to spread this message. And they've got armies of bots out there who will descend on you and just pieces if you dare to say something.
And so many of the same circles and names that are promoting that are being explained right here also promote the Christian anti-Semitism. The Muslim-Christian alliance, Gog and Magog, controlled op.
Something like Slava Ukraine. I support Ukraine. Ukraine is standing in the breach for us. Putin is a neo-communist. If you say anything like that, they will descend. So that's how they shape the narrative.
That's right.
See,
let's listen to Rabbi Anava. What does he have to say about Putin?
And ironically, now, the leader of Russia might be a big dictator, but he loves the Jews. Putin loves the Jews. Was raised by a Jewish family. For years, I was always saying, if there's ever going to be a big war in this region, the Russians are going to come and help us at the end. It's going to flip over. The Americans are the ones who are going to come to destroy us, and it's going to be the Russians that are coming.
Primordial chaos first. Hold on. Let's finish.
And it's going to be the Russians that are coming to defend us. And ironically,
I'm going to play a Dugan clip that contradicts that in a second. Rehabilitating Soviet Union with Christianity. Primordial chaos says, Ortho bro priest Joshua Trenum went to one of those Russia-sponsored family values conferences. Yeah, not surprised. And like the Tucker Carlson, he's coming to Jesus all of a sudden. Joe Rogan, who said fuck Zelensky and he won't interview Zelensky. He's shilling Jesus now also. Now here is the Dugan. This is interesting. Dugan explaining that Russian Orthodox prophecy calls for an end times attack on Israel, which coincidentally perfectly aligns with the Kabbalistic view that Gog, Russia from the north, the leader Gog of Magog, the nation from the north, is going to descend upon Israel in the end times. with a Esau, Ishmael, Muslim, Christian alliance. Here, let me pull this up, and we'll play the power chat too. Let's see. Okay, doesn't play unless I press save. Okay. Oop, wrong one. Okay, should be playing now. Go. The kosher is from Zornder, Edom. Jeez.
But you have
with this oh, there it is.
Zornder, Edom said $5. The kosher horse is thick and difficult to trudge through. Pretty sure Starmer is a Jew. He is certainly a perfect SOG agent. Sounds like pandering to the so-called far-right.
Maybe, but hey, at least it's the right rhetoric. And is he a Jew?
Said $5.
I thought it was like his wife
is thick and
Jewish
difficult to
something.
trudge through. Pretty sure Starmer is a Jew.
Okay.
He is certainly a perfect SOG agent.
Skip. We heard that one. Thank you. So what is this guy? Imran?
Zornder, said $5. The kosher horse.
Why does it play so many times? Come on. Jeez. What is this guy Imran Hussein? He's the Muslim that's always doing the end time stuff, promoting all of the kosher end times prophecy narratives, right? Of course, he's with Dugan.
what you have to say.
So now I would like to...
So here's Putin's brain, who says he loves Kabbalah. He used to be a Satanist, or at least an Aleister Crowley speech. Putin's brain, popular among all these alt-right networks. I think he's supposedly his Russian Orthodox Church now. He's promoting Jesus. He's promoting these end times prophecies. He wants to destroy the West, just like the Kabbalah rabbis.
To express, first of all, our fascination of your exposition, and to say some words concerning Russian Orthodox eschatological vision of this
Russian Orthodox eschatological vision.
Situation. What is important that a perfect and very strange convergence of some crucial points. I have spoken recently with one saint father, Vladimir Tsvetkov. He is a monk and he is a chief of monastery who belongs to the tradition of the elders of the starets, Russian starets, and he was introduced in the Orthodox eschatology, Russian eschatology, and I have asked him to name the most important points of this eschatology. So, according to him, all the starets, all the elders of Russian Orthodox Church prophesied the spiritual renaissance, rebirth of Russian Christian tradition after the time of Bolshevist or Antichrist oppression. So what now we are witnessing of a fulfillment of the tradition that was made before Bolshevists, but they were more or less identified, their rule was foreseen, and the end of this rule was predicted. What should go next? Rebirth of Orthodox Church and the rebirth of Russia. At the same time, 2 points were after that.
Rebirth to KGB-controlled Messianic Jew worship.
3 points. The wars and with the great suffering of the Russia, and also the many challenges to Moscow and many damages that we will suffer. So very devastating wars waged against us in the future. After reconquest of the Constantinople, precisely that the elders of Russian Orthodox Church affirm that Russia will conquer Constantinople and free Hagia Sophia and restore it as Christian cathedral. But that will be in the animosity against Western Christianity that is recognized as a kind of fallen branch of our church. So it is all concerns only Orthodox Eastern Christian tradition. And the last thing, that was the Great War against Israel and the reconquest of Constantinople. So there are not Muslims mentioned expressly, but that rebirth of Christendom in Russia, reconquest of Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, and the war against Pax Judaica. And in all these predictions.
So he's saying that the leaders of the Russian Orthodox Church say that there's going to be an end times war where they attack Judea, where they team up with the Muslims to attack Israel, which completely aligns with what the Kabbalah rabbis say of the Christian-Muslim alliance turning against Israel, all of the world turning against Israel. They've got their script, their blueprint. We know how the story ends. And agents like Dugin are promoting these prophecies so that we all get destroyed. He wants to see the West, Edom, destroyed.
The rule of the international Jewry was recognized as the sign of the end of the time and as the representation of the rule of the Antichrist.
So the Jews, people recognizing their power, calling them Antichrist, and then waging war against them.
So there is perfect convergence with what you have said, and that is also quite opposite to what Salafi Muslims affirm, because they are for alliance with the West and against so-called Russian oppression against Muslim minority. So we have two global visions, not one Christians, the other Muslims, but two global visions, one Muslim Christian that you defend and we defend, and the other Muslim Christian vision that is defended by Westerners, the Zionists, and the Jews. So you have promptly pointed out that the idea of the Jews is not all of them.
No.
So, and that gives the possibility to regard the third monotheistic phase as double. So they are part of the Jews. They will be, I think that major part of the Jews will be on other side, but there will be a little part, maybe few of them, on our side.
That's right.
So it is a kind. What is important that this line, eschatological line, divides not religions between themselves, but inside of three religions.
So he's saying the Muslims and the Christians of Russia and the East need to unite against the satanic West and Israel. He's basically just leading everybody right into the Jewish end times plans.
There are two contradictory
telling you to trust the plan.
Positions. Only two in Islam, represented by Sheikh Imran Hussein, and by, I have spoken some days ago with President of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, personally, and he confirmed absolutely eschatological vision. The only difference in the vision of Imran Hussein, Ahmadinejad, the role of Mahdi played in this situation.
Yeah, they think the Mahdi, both Christian and Muslim, thinks that Jesus is going to return to destroy the Antichrist. Yeah, he's irritating to talk.
Imran Hussein stresses the point of the return of the Jesus. And the
return of this Jesus.
Stress the point of return of Mahdi. That is difference. But geopolitically speaking, that is absolute convergence between Iranian eschatology and eschatology expressed by Sheikh Imran Hussein. There is this.
Why is he leaving out the Kabbalah prediction that Iran and Russia are going to turn against Israel, wage war against Israel and Edom in the West?
Difference, the dividing line in Christianity, Western and Eastern, and there is the same line, more deeper maybe and not so obvious inside of Judaism. One part of Judaism that is Zionist, Pax Judaica, and the other that we could presume to be different. So I would like to thank you for your exposition.
Okay. So isn't that interesting? Promote how all these prophecies align with one another. Now let's look at Fox News Foreign Affairs correspondent describes Netanyahu. Yeah, segue into the Christian Muslim pro-Putin propagandist. Netanyahu has roadblock and reports Donald Trump's disgust with Netanyahu for obstructing the process. The conflict between Netanyahu and Trump is brewing. Remember it was reported Trump said, "Fuck Netanyahu," because he congratulated Biden. And then we'll play the clip in a second. Trump was blaming Netanyahu and saying Netanyahu didn't want peace. Netanyahu was blocking peace. Abbas was a great guy. I've been predicting for years before. I've been saying Trump as an Antichrist figure since like 2016, 2017. Trump is an Antichrist figure. I've been saying since he lost in 2020 that he's going to get back in and do the peace deal, and then it'll fall apart and there'll be Gog and Magog. That Trump's going to get back in and do the peace deal with Palestine, the deal of the century with Kushner, that Kushner's still managing behind the scenes. And then all the Jews would say, he betrayed us, he's dividing the land. We're going to play the clips from the old documentaries all about dividing the land of Israel.
No stop is set right now, John, for Israel in this trip. No meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Analysts have been saying recently that he is being seen by the U.S., by the Trump administration, as a roadblock on many areas that Trump is trying to advance. Israel, in fact, was not having much to do with this latest hostage development. No stop is set right.
I talked about this with Donnie Darkin. Trump is the biggest narcissist, has the biggest ego in the world. He knows about all the internet saying that he's Bibi's bitch and he's Bibi's pawn. Remember the New York Times cartoon where it was Trump blind being led around by Netanyahu, who was the dog? He sees all this. It's this is why it's almost so predictable that there would be and I said it. It's like there would be the narrative that it was a turn. There would be the narrative, even though he's still shilling for Israel and doing all that stuff. The Jews, it won't be enough for the Jews. They'll claim he turned against him, that he abandoned him, that the whole world abandoned them. That's the narrative. They're all alone. The whole world abandoned them. All of the nations against them. Donald Trump says this was the big announcement. People were speculating because of a unsubstantiated leak report that Trump was going to announce a Palestinian state. But we didn't get that. We got him saying that he's happy to announce that Edon Alexander, an American citizen, has been held hostage by Hamas since October 23, is coming home to his family. He's grateful to all those involved in making this monumental news happen. This was a step taken in good faith towards the United States and the efforts of the mediators, Qatar and Egypt, to put an end. No Israel, no thanks to Israel, to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones. Hopefully this is the first of those final steps necessary to end the brutal conflict. Look forward to that day of celebration. No, this is the new report. Now, Netanyahu says that he thinks that they're going to have to detox from United States security assistance. More of the betrayal and the abandoning and the decoupling unfolding. Let me see. Hold on. Did I? Oh, yeah. And I already said this, but the conflict between Trump and Netanyahu is brewing. Expect a lot of talk about Trump abandoning and dividing the land of Israel and Israel being alone against the world. Trump betraying Israel and dividing Israel by recognizing a Palestinian state. This didn't happen, but there's a lot of talk about they're also saying it's a betrayal just that Trump is negotiating with Iran. Trump is apparently mad at Netanyahu for trying to impede that. Also, they're trying to negotiate nuclear deals with Iran and Saudi Arabia, and they want to get Saudi Arabia to normalize with Israel and join the Abraham Accords, but to do that, they have to have, or at least they've claimed in the past, that there has to be a two-state solution in recognition of a Palestinian state in the West Bank. So this was reported over the weekend, and they've came out and denied. I think Trump's press secretary denied it, and Ambassador Huckabee, ultra-Zionist Huckabee, also denied it. Donald Trump, this was over the weekend. Donald Trump to announce U.S. recognizes Palestinian state, Gulf diplomatic source claims. Trump is going to the Middle East for negotiations. Speculations swirl over a major announcement on a Palestinian state and peaceful U.S.-Saudi nuclear cooperation. Guys, how many before Trump got elected, I told you he's going to be elected, he's going to get back in, and that he's going to make a peace deal with Palestine, and that's going to anger the Jews and say he's dividing the land of Israel. And now it's exactly unfolding. Look, here's June 2024. I said, look for Trump and Kushner peace deal with West Bank in the next term. It will unravel before the Gog and Magog climax. Before Trump even got back into office. And this was Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince denounces heinous crimes from Palestinians and calls for independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. July 23rd, I also said, looks like the Trump-Palestine peace deal will be unfolding like I've been predicting. July 2024. And this was because Trump posted his message after the supposed assassination attempt where the beast survived the deadly head wound, which I also predicted with Donnie over 2 years before it happened. He says, Mohammed, so nice, thank you, everything will be good, best wishes. He publicly posted the thank you letter he got, or the well-wishing, wishing you strength and safety message from the leader of the PLO in the West Bank of Palestine. So many videos of rabbis talking about the rise in anti-Semitism and all the world turning against them and how it's signs of their redemption. All right, let's see. So here's the old documentary with Mike Evans, the Friends of Zion Museum, Christian Zionist, who's Jewish. Mike Evans did this documentary, I think 2003, maybe 1999. I always forget the date. But it's based on his book, America in Prophecies, which I have somewhere. I don't think it's on this close bookshelf. But all about America being cursed for abandoning Israel or dividing the land of Israel. Like 20 years ago,
In 1991, the President of the United States initiated the Madrid peace process. This plan was for Israel to give up land for peace. The land involved the West Bank, Golan Heights, Gaza, and specifically Jerusalem. The problem with the Madrid peace process is that God has promised the land of Israel to the Jewish people in an everlasting covenant, and that the prophets mention that whoever divides this land will face judgment from God. In Zechariah chapter 14, the prophet says, "In that day I will seek to destroy all the nations that have come against Jerusalem."
Could it be that in its attempt to achieve such a worthy objective as peace in the Middle East, America has inadvertently put itself prophetically in harm's way? Has our peace initiative...
Has America put itself prophetical in harm's way for dividing the land of Israel? Trump and this is why I've been predicting that it's going to happen. Trump, after taking all the big Zionist money, working out a peace deal with Palestine, this is what they'll say. They'll say him and Elon allowed the rise in anti-Semitism in Edom, that Trump's the new Hitler, that they're doing Roman salutes. The same narrative, all scripted.
Against Israel.
I'm not a prophet, but I encourage you to read the prophets Zechariah and Joel, which clearly state that God will judge the nations that attempt to divide his covenant land.
Matter of fact, the Bible speaks about in Genesis 12:3, those nations or those people that bless the Jewish people will be blessed, and those who curse them will be cursed. The United States has experienced many, many years of blessing because we have been really the only nation in the world that is a true friend of the nation of Israel. However, in October of 1991...
Until they're not. So many rabbis I've seen, oh, America gave $6 billion to Iran. America turned their backs and turned the boats around during the Holocaust. They've always been white Christian and anti-Semitic, and they're just the extension of Europe and Edom and going to be destroyed in the end times. It's all so obvious and predictable.
President George Bush and Mikhail Gorbachev, the Russian president, sponsored the Madrid Land for Peace conference. And this was the beginning of many catastrophes and catastrophic events that affected the United States going forward. What happened in Madrid is George Bush was talking about Israel giving up their land for promises of peace and security. The perfect storm that had developed in the Northeast Atlantic was sending 30-foot waves into President Bush's Kennebunkport, Maine home.
Reminds me of when Alex Jones posted that on their website that if you divide the land of Israel, that natural disasters will hit America.
The Madrid conference convened in Washington, D.C.
InfoWars posted that. Let's see. I always have trouble finding that one, and I think it might be on my oldest hard drive that's not in there. So this is all from 2006 Biblical End Times documentary, Russia is Gog of Magog. America must serve Israel or be destroyed by God.
The prophet Ezekiel talks about the time when nations from the north will come against Israel. Led by a prince named Gog, most people believe that's Russia, along with other nations, Persia, which most people believe is Iran, Libya, Ethiopia, will come against the nation of Israel.
John the Revelator adds considerable detail to Ezekiel's account. For example, John tells us the size of the army that will be assembled for the final battle is 200,000 or 200 million men. John tells us he heard the number of men.
The prophet
that could field an army of 200 million. There's only one country.
Oh, and Netanyahu was in this documentary. Dory Gold, another top Zionist, was in this documentary. Just like they're in the documentaries with Tim LaHaye, the Left Behind author who founded the Council for National Policy. What a coincidence that all of these prophecies converge into fulfilling the Jewish prophecies where they win in the end. They're the originators of that. They're the ones with the secrets about where they're playing both sides and have the upper hand. And they got the Christians and the Muslims trusting the plan and marching towards their destruction.
The world that could field an army of 200 million people, and that is China. China now has a $70 billion oil contract with Iran, ancient Persia. They can veto an Iran nuclear bomb in the Security Council because they're permanent members, and Russia is also a permanent member.
Okay, you got Russia, Iran, China with military pact defense agreements.
The President of the United States initiated.
You got India and Pakistan on the verge of nuclear war as well, as if Ukraine, Russia, and China and Taiwan and Israel and Gaza and Iran wasn't enough. Now throw India and Pakistan in the mix too. Oh, that was How Close Are We? End Times, How Close Are We? 2006. Okay. Now here's the clip. Again, now another year before. This is before Trump even announced that he was going to run again, which I said he was going to win. He's going to get back in power in the exact fashion. He's going to have the peace deal with Palestine, and there'll be all this talk about a betrayal and an abandonment of Israel. When Trump exposed Netanyahu.
That's a possibility. Look, it's going to have to do with both sides, but a lot will have to do with Israel and whether or not Israel wants to make the deal. As far as settlements, I'd like to see you hold back on settlements for a little bit. We'll work something out, but I would like to see a deal be made. It might be a bigger and better deal than people in this room even understand. That's a possibility. So let's see what we do.
Right.
That doesn't sound too optimistic, but that's... I was disappointed in Bibi just on a personal basis. I thought he wanted to make a deal more than Netanyahu. And I will be honest, I had a great meeting with him, Abbas, right? I had a great meeting with him, and we spent a lot of time together, talked about many things, and it was almost like a father. I mean, he was so nice. Couldn't have been nicer. And after meeting with Bibi for 3 minutes, I looked at him and said, "You don't want to make a deal, do you?" And he said, "Well, and the fact is, I don't think Bibi ever wanted to make a deal." Why?
Which is true. They didn't. Or maybe they do want Trump to make a deal. Maybe Kushner is still managing Trump and his team from behind the scenes, which is being reported, and I also called what happened. And they want him to make this deal so he could be thrown under the bus and scapegoated.
I thought the Palestinians were impossible, and the Israelis would do anything to make peace and a deal. I found that not to...
Okay, remember, this is 2021. Trump says Netanyahu never wanted peace. He accuses Netanyahu of disloyalty. F him. Never wanted peace. Like, going back to like 2016, talking about Trump and Kushner as Antichrist figures and these Abraham Accords and the peace deals and the Third Temple. And it's all unfolding. This was out a few days ago, May 9th. Jared Kushner quietly advising Trump administration ahead of Middle East trip. Longtime Netanyahu friend, close family friend, and Chabad Lubavitcher, Jared Kushner, advising Trump and the team from behind the scenes. Hillel Fueled says he feels betrayed. If the rumors about Trump are true, I refuse to believe the media about them until they're confirmed. But if they're true, if Trump signed a nuclear deal with the Saudis without demanding normalization with Israel, if he agreed to ceasefire with the Houthis without demanding they stop attacking Israel, and if he indeed is trying to cut ties with Israel, I will be the first to admit I was duped. They're saying it's hard to believe these rumors. This would be a historic backstabbing of Israel, maybe the worst by any president in history. Dark MAGA mode. Antichrist Trump dark MAGA mode. And even if he doesn't do it, the media narrative is already there for the perception management. Here's Alex Jones pushing this super hard now as well. Alex Jones predicted that President Trump would completely cut ties with Netanyahu. Comes true.
But Netanyahu wouldn't even take his phone call when they stole the election.
It's funny how now all of a sudden it's good if Trump cuts ties with Netanyahu. In the first term, it was Netanyahu. Here comes Netanyahu with the cavalry.
John, said $5. Many have said the India-Pakistan war is a false flag for internal political reasons. I've been thinking it would be a perfect way to normalize deployment of nuclear weapons, presuming Zionist India is behind it.
I feel like it's just more battle lines being drawn. You know, one side is going to take one side of the conflict and the other side will take the other. So it's just more of the Gog and Magog battle lines. It's the way I see it.
I exclusively reported to the world in April that President Trump detests Benjamin Netanyahu and is, quote, done with him. Are we going to let Benjamin Netanyahu cause Armageddon? And by the way, people, Trump's real nice people in public.
You don't want Armageddon? He's like, we're in the end times. Jesus is about to return. The Antichrist is ruling. I don't know. Do you want him to usher in Armageddon? Do you not want Jesus to return? Is it not trust the plan? The plan is the Bible?
Trump does not like Netanyahu. He never trusted him before. But Netanyahu wouldn't even take his phone call when they stole the election and was the first world leader to call Joe Biden and congratulate him. What a dick. That's why when Netanyahu was there 2 weeks ago, Trump said, well, he came here, wasn't really supposed to be here. He's leaving very quickly. Bye-bye, Benjamin. Reportedly, he's been yelling at him behind the scenes. I might have heard that from somebody that was there.
Oh, yeah, sure. Trust me, guys, my secret source said he was yelling at him behind the scenes. That's why Trump just like last week posted on the official White House Twitter that they agree on everything. Him and Netanyahu agree on everything.
And that's what Trump does behind the scenes, starts actually going very controlled. But like, what the hell do you think you're doing? You want to get our grandkids killed? What is your problem? What the F is your problem? I mean, you can't play around with these weapons.
Yeah, Alex Jones sells apocalyptic freeze-dried food, right?
Today it's being reported by the Israeli news and other world news that President Trump has cut ties with Netanyahu and, of course, is now negotiating.
And those all also been denied as well. Those reports have been denied.
Peace deals in the Middle East without even including him. On top of that, President Trump.
I know, Voca Spirit. How interesting. I thought Jones said Netanyahu was helping us fight the satanic Chinese Muslim Nazi globalists. I know. I thought so too. That was the old rhetoric. Funny how he completely flipped the script on that one, huh?
Announced the ceasefire peace deal with the Houthis from the White House Oval Office during a press conference with the new Canadian Prime Minister, and did not even tell Israel about it before he did it. And that's because he understands that Netanyahu is a globalist who sided with Joe Biden as well, and was the first foreign leader to recognize the stolen election for Joe Biden in 2020 and would not even return calls to Trump. But Trump buried the hatchet on that. And now, just like with Zelensky, he's caught Netanyahu over and over again on the phone saying he'll do one thing, but then behind the scenes working with people in his administration to try to sabotage things. And
that's the other rumor we're hearing. Well, it's a rumor that Trump getting rid of Waltz was because he was working for Netanyahu and not him. So he did get rid of Waltz. I don't know if it's confirmed that was the reason. Could have had something to do with that leaked Signal chat. Right?
That's why you've seen some folks recently dealing with foreign policy being removed at the White House. So this is Trump's continued strong defense of world peace and American interest. He's now negotiating directly.
He's the savior of the world, the only one to save us from World War III.
With the Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, central among it, for a Abraham Accord 2.0.
Oh, yay.
Continuing to push into
more Abraham Accords
and permanent peace in Ukraine. He is working for the whole world, and he's winning the economic war with Communist China, India, the list goes on and on, the UK. Over 100 have now signed on and are negotiating final deals. Many have already done it with the United States. There's a global political realignment happening. The old globalist system has fallen, and Trump is projecting Americana and the American system worldwide and just doing.
Okay, enough of the fluff. So a whole lot more of the narrative. The way they try to like fulfill the prophecies with the headlines and with the rumors on the internet and people's perception, which is why I always say like the narrative will be. I don't say it will be. The narrative will be.
Fasci sent $5. The Ukraine war is a Rothschild plan to collapse Russia at the expense of Ukrainians. Why does it sound like you're shilling for the Jewish Ukrainian government?
That's
Even
such a
Macron
stupid
worked
comment.
for the Rothschild before becoming PM.
Such a stupid comment. Let me see that again. A Rothschild plan to collapse Russia at the expense. Yeah, Putin invaded Ukraine so that Ukraine could collapse Russia. Give me a fucking break, dude. Fasci. Never even seen Fasci before. Some triggered Putin stan. Hold on. Sorry. Stating the obvious that was not a bag of Coke, but it was a napkin on the table, and a bunch of the blatant Russia shills are all running with a hoax. That means I'm shilling for the Ukrainian government. Do I need to do a whole video on how much of a Zionist Putin is and how close he is with Chabad Lubavitch? Do I need to play all the clips of them talking about how great Putin is for the Jews? And how Putin's going to denazify those Nazis in Ukraine? Pointing out both sides playing their role, their prophetic roles in a Jewish script is not shilling for Ukrainian government. You're the one shilling Putin. All these guys constantly making up shit on Zelensky and shilling Putin and taking money from Russia and praising Dugin. I'm shilling Ukraine now. Have I had a Ukrainian on the show? Give me a fucking break. All right. So the narrative of Israel being alone against the world, all the world turning against Israel, the prophetic end time script. Israel vows to defend ourselves alone after Trump strikes truth with the Houthis.
The front page of The Economist reads...
I don't want to do that one yet. So that's after the Houthis, they'll defend themselves alone. And then we have The Economist, the Rothschild-owned Economist, who says, Israel all alone. Dermer, Israel will enter Rafah. So before the October 7th, or the retaliation of October 7th, they said, Israel will enter Rafah, even if entire world turns on us, including the U.S. They don't care what the U.S. says. They'll go alone.
The front page of The Economist reads, Israel alone.
Here's Moshiach Rabbi analyzing the Israel alone.
The front page of The Economist reads, Israel alone, and they couldn't be more right. It reminds me of what our sages taught us, that the Jewish people are like one sheep surrounded by 70 wolves. But imagine how great our shepherd must be.
That's how the Jews view the world. All the Goyim hate them. Esau hates Jacob. They're just a little, what do you say, a sheep surrounded by 70 wolves. So the 70 nations are all wolves. The 70 nations who on Sukkot lose their power with the sacrifices of the bulls in descending order. The 70 nations divided up into the Esau and the Ishmael that are going to mutually destroy each other. The 7 laws of Noah for the 70 nations after the 70 nations turn on Israel and God wins in the big war.
It reminds me of what our sages taught us, that the Jewish people are like one sheep surrounded by 70 wolves. But imagine how great our shepherd must be. We have to be careful not to be lured into the trap of trusting one of the wolves and understand.
It's funny how the Jews got so much confidence that they're going to win because their opposition is Christian Muslim and going exactly according to their script. And they're trusting the plan for their Jewish shepherd to save them, just like the Christians. The biggest, the Christians who are the controlled opposition to Jews also say that the Jewish shepherd, Jesus, is the solution to this problem. All the biggest pro-Zionist shills all promote Jesus, and all the biggest anti-Zionist shills also promote Jesus, and nobody bats an eye.
That our protection only comes from God himself. We cannot rely on the nations, the governments, anybody in the world. Everybody has said their piece. We know where we stand. It's been proven. It's obvious. So yes, The Economist, Israel is alone. We are alone with God, us and him together. Just
the way they like it.
Thank you for the reminder.
Just the way it's supposed to be. Here's old clip of John Hagee talking about the Antichrist, how the Antichrist comes out of Europe, out of Edom, like the Left Behind movies. The Antichrist was a European involved with the UN, like all of these conspiracy guys online saying the UN's Nazis, the World Economic Forum Nazis. They're all the Nazis. They're all the Amaleks.
The Antichrist will create a one-world religion. He will set up his image in the city of Jerusalem and command for the world to worship him. Those who do not will be killed on the spot. Imagine a world filled with demonized Satan worshipers. The war against Christianity, my friends, has only just begun. It is going to get much worse before the rapture. 9, the Antichrist will come out of the original Roman Empire. Daniel 7 and 8, Daniel 9 and 26. The European Union.
The Antichrist will come out of Edom when he says the Roman Empire. In his book, Earth's Last Empire, with the eagle on there, the Roman eagle. I could play the clip I played many times of Mizrachi talking about how the eagle represents Edom and Russia at one point, and Rome and Germany, and now America.
Has reunited most of the original Roman Empire, a major prophetic accomplishment. 10, Daniel 8:24 states that the Antichrist, quote, shall seek to destroy the mighty. That means powerful nations. That means America. And the holy people. That's the Jewish people. That's the Jewish people. Why will the Antichrist hate the Jewish people? The answer is the Antichrist hates everything that God loves. And God loves the Jewish people. The Bible calls them the apple of his eye. God loves the Jewish people because they brought to the world the word of God. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the patriarchs, the Old Testament prophets, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Take away that combination and there is no Christianity. They gave us the 12 disciples in St. Paul. That's the reason that Jesus said in John 4:22, salvation is of the Jews. That means if you take away the Jewish contribution to Christianity, there would be no Christianity. The Antichrist will be shot in the head by a Jewish person who figures out that who he is by the sum of the letters in Hebraic value of his last name.
Whoa, hold on. Who's the guy that shot Trump? We need to go look up the gematria of the guy, the last name of the guy that supposedly shot Trump's ear. What a coincidence. The leader of Edom survives a deadly head wound.
That means if you take away the Jewish contribution to Christianity, there would be no Christianity. The Antichrist
and then divides the land of Israel by trying to make peace with the Arabs.
Will be shot in the head by a Jewish person who figures out that who he is by the sum of the letters in Hebraic value of his last name. And the Bible says very clearly his number is, say it with me, 666. The Antichrist will discover miraculously, emulating the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, from being shot in the head. When
he will emulate Jesus. In how many ways has Trump emulated Jesus? Oh, he's laid down his life to save the world. He sacrificed himself in his billionaire playboy lifestyle to get. He's taking the arrows. He's being attacked by the deep state because he's protecting us. He's had his second coming to power. He's resurrected. He even cast lots for his garments with his iconic mugshot photo, the suit. He broke it up into 47 pieces and cast lots for his garments. The emulation of Jesus. I've done many videos with Donnie Darkened, Trump playing an Antichrist role, emulating Jesus.
He recovers from the gunshot, he is going to have the personality of Hitler on steroids. This time, God has made a way of escape for the chosen people. This time, they're going to flee to Petra in Jordan.
So after the assassination, he becomes Hitler on steroids. We've already been hearing about Trump being the new Hitler forever. He's been the biggest Shabbos goy serving Israel. Thank you, Henry the Lion.
Sent $20 on Rumble. Keep it up, Proof.
They've been calling Trump the new Hitler forever. Trump, Hitler book. There was an article that he had a book of Hitler on his nightstand. Look. Come on. Donald Trump's history with Adolf Hitler and his Nazi writings. They've been calling him the new Hitler over and over and over again.
Where they will be delivered by the hand of God for 3.5 years, exactly like the children of Israel were preserved in the wilderness. God will feed them. God will provide water from a rock. God will provide the cloud by day and the fire by night. No one will be sick or feeble among them as they are sheltered there in this rock fortress. God is not going to allow another dictator to persecute the Jewish people. In the future, he will defend the Jewish people and he will crush their persecutors. Zechariah 12:8-9 says, in that day, the Lord will defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. It shall be in that day that I will destroy all nations that come against Israel. That's very, very clear. America, do not take a stand against Israel because you will have God to turn his back on the United States of America.
Hear that? Don't turn your back on Israel. Don't make a deal with the West Bank. Don't divide the land of Israel or you will be cursed. Dude, the Christian Zionist Kufi, John Hagee, could not signal and foreshadow this any harder. Watch this. Hagee, peace deal, Antichrist. Mother Jones, please. Come on. Let's go. John Hagee says an Israel-Palestinian peace deal will be the work of the Antichrist. What year? This was 2023.
The major difference between Hitler and the Antichrist was that Hitler only affected Europe. The Bible reveals 12 attributes of the Antichrist. Not unlike Hitler, by the way. The major difference between Hitler and the Antichrist was that Hitler only affected Europe. The Antichrist is going to affect the world. Listen to these 12 things. 1, Hitler came to power through an economic crisis. The Treaty of Versailles demanded that Germany pay America and Europe for all the damages of World War I. It bankrupted Germany and birthed World War II. And here's how. Germany printed money until it became worthless, much like America is doing right now.
Oh.
There was massive inflation.
Oh, just like America. Don't forget, Trump just appointed the Chabad Lubavitch Israeli-born rabbi to be the anti-Semitism monitor, and he says it's just like we're in 1930s Germany. America is 1930s Germany, and there's about to be another Holocaust. That's what the guy's basically saying. The same narrative everywhere that's been going. Netanyahu's close friend, Elon, buys X, and now all of a sudden, the Christian Muslim-controlled op bullshit and kosher disinfo explodes all over. Nothing sus about that.
Much like America's going to have. Then came poverty and hunger. The money was printed on one side at one point in time because the ink on one side was more valuable than the money. The point, the Antichrist will come to power on the wings of a global economic crisis. Let one small nation in Europe go bankrupt.
Is America and the West and the world not on a global crisis?
And the EU does not bail them out. Panic will spread, and there will be a global economic crisis. World leaders will demand an economic Caesar, an all-powerful man who will produce a one-world currency.
Oh, they all need a Caesar? Like, I don't know, the Greek Orthodox leader just called Trump the new Constantine? The Emperor of Edom? Greek Orthodox bishop, I guess it was, called him.
One world government.
Trump posting memes that he's the new pope.
Believe me, that's coming much sooner than you think. Right now, China is using its currency as a weapon of war, and the stock markets of the world are going up and down. Secondly, by peace, the Antichrist will destroy many. Daniel 8:25. By peace, the Antichrist will destroy many. Think about that. The Antichrist is going to make...
So the peace, he will make peace treaties.
Peace treaties he never intends to keep. Hitler made peace with England in a treaty he never intended to keep. Prime Minister Chamberlain went to Hitler asking for peace. He came back to England waving a piece of worthless paper saying, "We have peace in our times." Absolute deception. Hitler lied. He attacked England, and the battle for Britain was savage, just like Hitler.
the Antichrist will make peace accords and military agreements that he never intends to keep. He will make a 7-year peace treaty with Israel and break it in 42 months or 3.5 years. Hitler built Autobahns, Volkswagen, and the German military juggernaut. He caused craft to prosper. The coming Antichrist.
This shit is so psychotic. I know. It's so psychotic.
Doesn't anyone notice?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Living in the Jewish twilight zone, where this guy's like the most influential pastor in America. Him and Rabbi Jonathan Cahn.
On the white horse is going to promise to end worldwide economic crisis. And he'll do that quickly, I think, through international trade union agreements. Nations will instantly begin to flow with one purpose and one currency. That's why I'm saying, if there is a hope for America, it is the preaching of the gospel of Jesus Christ from sea to shining sea, until there is a recognition of the lordship of Jesus Christ and the atonement of the blood of Jesus Christ that cleanses from all sin. Give him praise and glory.
Okay. Praise and glory. So Jackson Hinkle, top Russian propagandist and Eurasianist, Duganist, posting all of the things, really pushing the narrative of the Trump-Bibi feud. Trump posts video of Sachs calling Netanyahu a deep, dark son of a bitch. Trump states Netanyahu won't drag U.S. into war with Iran. Yeah, but he also said he will lead the war. Trump pursues negotiations with Iran instead of Israel's request to bomb Iranian nuclear sites. That seems true. Trump fires, which is good optics, like trying to have peace first before just bombing. You could be like, well, I tried. It's like a plausible deniability. Trump fires Waltz over his close association with Netanyahu. Trump makes peace with Yemen's Allah, allowing Israeli ships to continue being targeted. I'm sure he said, you can keep targeting the Israeli ships. Don't worry about them. I'm sure that happened. Again, narrative is what is important. Israeli, 15,000 likes too. Israeli media reports Trump cut off contact with Netanyahu over reportedly being treated with disrespect. These rumors are being denied. It was an unnamed source. Doesn't matter. They're still running with it and loving it. Trump's Secretary of Defense abruptly cancels planned trip to Israel. They said, they even denied this as well. Hegseth, who wants to rebuild the Third Temple, by the way, of course, said they're canceling the trip because he's going to join Trump in the Middle Eastern trip and that he'll go to Israel again soon. Trump ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, ultra-Zionist, states the U.S. does not need Israel's approval to make peace with Yemen. He said that? I missed that. Here's a fact check. Okay, Grok fast check. False, no evidence. Ambassador made the statement. False, no evidence. Hegseth canceled a trip to Israel. Okay, and we commented on the rest. Now, this is an interesting one. Look, this guy that got real famous for, and all of the Christian Muslim controlled op networks promoted this guy and his fire extinguisher. He fire extinguished the menorah, the Hanukkah menorah. Right? Now he's saying, Jews, your time in history is coming to an end. What does that sound like? How is that going to be interpreted? Polish Confederation Party, Gregor's Braun.
On już się skończył. I wy... Kończy się wasz czas w historii. On już się skończył. I wy...
Your time has already ended, both you Jews from Israel and you Jews from the U.S.
I wy Żydzi z Ameryki. Nie będziecie już zarządzali narodem.
No longer rule over the nations of the world.
Nie będziecie dyktowali narodom na całej kuli ziemskiej, kogo mają wybierać na swoich najwyższych przedstawicieli i jak mają czcić i nosić w serdecznej pamięci swoich przodków.
So, I saw all the Russian people promoting this guy in his, which is stupid anyway, blowing the extinguisher on the menorah candle like Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. And Passover. But anyway, for just some reason, I'll get these power chats in a second. Oh, there it is.
Saunders, you said $5 floating a hypothesis on Ukraine war. Rothschild Zionist agents are happy for Russia, and they don't to annihilate each other, killing off whites. China is their desired win and repeat tree dish where you're cultivating the most technocratic slaves for Zion.
Yeah, a lot of these rabbis we always watch are saying that. They go, both Ukraine and Russia are anti-Semites, and they love to see them destroying each other. And it's like the conflict. Remember Gaona Vilna, top Kabbalah rabbi, said that when Russia takes Crimea, that means the footsteps of the Messiah are coming. Like, it's the plan. Trust the plan. So anyway, I saw this guy's rhetoric. I saw if you're good one. I like that. See through it all. If you're not exposing Jewish prophecy, you're not exposing Zionism. If you believe in the prophecies of the God of Zion, you're not an anti-Zionist. So I just thought, let me look up this guy in Russia. And what do you know? Of course, Gregory Braun contributes toward demonstrating the connections between Polish political actors in Moscow. Pro-Russia presidential candidate Grzegorz Braun. Pro-Russia Polish politician with a well-documented history of Kremlin-aligned rhetoric. How did I guess that he was going to be a big Putin shill? How did I know? With this inflammatory type of rhetoric, like your time in history is coming to an end. Is it, though? Is it? Is the Russian Orthodox Church and the Muslims uniting to turn on Israel according to their biblical script where they get destroyed? Is that really mean they're coming to the end? Or is this just the rhetoric that, like, all the nations wanted to rise up and genocide us, but Hashem intervened and we won again? So all the rabbis can brag, all the empires that persecuted us, they're all disappeared. They're all in the dustbin, but we survived. The esoteric is too far for the common man? Maybe. Anyway, I found that interesting. Now, of course, the rhetoric from Zionist, rapture-ready Zionists like Mike Pompeo, like John Hagee's buddy, Netanyahu simp Mike Pompeo says, satellite images reveal alleged secret Iranian nuclear weapons facility. This confirms what we've known. What we've long known, Iran's program is about building a nuclear weapon that can reach not just us, our allies, but even America. This terrorist regime cannot be trusted. So obvious. These guys just make it too obvious with this shit. So and then Mark Levin, Mark Levin is the one that just he's part of Homeland Security now. Trump nominated him to have a Homeland Security position. Iranian secret nuke site uncovered. Meanwhile, he knows that Israel has illegal nukes that they won't even admit to. These guys pushing for war with Iran to play out Jewish prophecy. Here's Mark Levin kvetching about Jared Kushner's buddy, Jewish real estate investor Witkoff, talking about neocons. He says neocon is a pejorative for Jew.
Can bend. You're right.
Not
the
necessarily.
Neocon element believes that war is the only way to solve things. And the president believes that his force of personality, the way he is going to respond to situations, can bend people to do things in a much better way in the interests of the United States government. And I believe in that too. You're right. The neocon element believes that war is the only way to solve things. And the president believes that his force of personality, the way he is going to respond to situations, can bend people to do things in a much better way in the interests of the United States government. And I believe.
Alex Jones comments on Mark Levin attacking Trump as anti-Semitic. Let's see Jones's.
So I knew about neocons. By the way, what's the magic power Mark Levin waves? Neocon is a pejorative for a Jew. Unbelievable. A, that's not true. And you know why it's associated with Jews, Mark Levin?
Because a lot of Jews are neocons.
Because I've been covering this since around the time the neocons had that name. Been around about 30 years. So I knew about neocons 30 years ago because they were the well-known Trotskyites that became Republicans to take over the Republican Party and turn it into a globalist crap hole. And half of them, at least, were Jews. And so people were not attacking the neocon movement because they were, people had Dick Cheney in it, Donald Rumsfeld, the tops of it. But about half of them, or a little more, were Jewish. You guys would run around and scream, we're Jewish, don't criticize our warmongering and our tyranny and our patriot acts. And you associated it with Jews, just like you just did. And then you freak out when people do that. But it is also associated with ultra totalitarian, amoral, injustifies the means, Machiavellian political operatives that just want raw power. Richard Pearl, Fife, Crystal, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Mostly Jews. There was a famous article called White Man's Burden by Haaretz that said, like, I forgot the stat, but it was like all the neocons are basically Jewish.
And
almost all.
In setting up the censorship complex the last 20-something years, targeting me is these guys. And then you get the left-wing version, Jeffrey Goldberg drops by. Scared, shaking by the end of the conversation. What scared you so bad, buddy? That the regular little people could sometimes figure things out and know more than you know? Is that what scares you? And you can know all this too by studying and observing and getting serious and realizing there's not just evil in the world.
Okay, can't hit anymore, Jones. Sorry. Remember this one? Former Prime Minister of Israel, Olmert, says the real enemy is not Iran or Hezbollah. It's not Hamas. It's the messianic crazies.
Which are totally intolerant. I will say it. The real enemy that we have is not Iran, which is an enemy. It's not Hezbollah, which is an enemy. It's not Hamas, which is an enemy. The real enemy is from within. The messianic, crazy, extreme groups of Israelis that think that they can kick out the Palestinians and annex their territories. I'm fighting against them, I'm campaigning against them, and I think that this is incumbent upon the Israeli government and Netanyahu. Unfortunately, Netanyahu depends on them politically to the extent that he closes his eyes and he allows them to do things which are totally intolerable and unacceptable. I will say it. Kick out the Palestinians and of Israelis that think that they can is from within.
And the other former prime minister, Ehud Barak, said the same thing. Messianic crazies. Apocalyptic death cult crazies. This is funny. Now we're getting to the Christian Cope segment. Final segment. Let's see. Our power chat still on? Zornder Edom, did we win? Yeah, we read that one. Okay. Guys, you want to participate in the show? You want to contribute to the show? The power chat link is in the live chat and the description below. See Through It All. I like this one from See Through It All. The stages of the E-Crusader Christian deconversion. First is the denial. They'll say Jesus isn't Jewish. Then they'll get angry and say, you're a Jew, because you don't believe in magical Jews. And then they'll bargain and be like, we can still be pro-white and Christian. We're anti-Zionist even though we believe in the God of Zion. There's your bargaining. And then the depression hits in. Majority of Christians are Africans racially and Zionist politically. And the cope. The depression and the cope. They're all copes. And then the acceptance. Hail Odin, hail Apollo, fuck Yahweh and his Jew son who never existed. Boom. Good meme material right there. Just Photoshop the stages. All these stages can happen in no particular order, says Conspiracy Truther. Yep, those are the stages of the cope that we see day in and day out. Apparently, my friend Donnie went into a JQ space, and they blocked him because he said Jesus was Jewish, which everybody knows besides these lying, coping E-Crusaders on the internet. can't handle their cope denial bubbles to be burst. So you guys clip this up. We're going to listen to a little bit of this. I missed it. Donnie says, this is Rich. Just got blocked by a JQ radio for simply challenging their heresy that Jesus wasn't Jewish, wasn't from the tribe of Judah, and came to destroy Judaism instead of fulfill it. These people don't know scripture. They get exposed the second you push them on it. They'll scream Bible until you actually quote it. Then they'll block and run like cowards. Cowards. Conspiracy Truther clipped it up. Let's hear the 2-minute version.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Okay. Anyone who wants to challenge, let's hop on the space with HT.
Immediately off mute.
Yeah.
They're all going full retard.
The Ghost of Eldon sent $5 on Rumble. Adam, my boy chick. Loved the space this weekend.
Yeah, it was fun. Everybody was getting good feedback on the space I joined this weekend. Ended up wasting many hours, staying up way too late, and not working on my book. But I made fun of it the next, made up for it the next night. Book is coming along very well. Okay, let's hear some more.
Yeah, you got a problem with it? Let's go.
I mean, yeah, nigger, I do.
All right, let's get on the space with HT and real anti-Abrahamics. Hold on. Let's
the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Wait, hang on. Was the claim there that HT is a biblical scholar?
Oh, yeah. He's been running with HT.
No, that wasn't the claim. He said, let me debate you on that space.
Yeah, he's been running with HT and all the neo-pagans and shit.
He talked to some non-believers. He went on another space.
Because guess what? They're not LARPers like you guys are, who have the black sun. You're appropriating their spirituality, by the way.
Do less cocaine, Donnie.
Let's get on their
Shut
space
the fuck up.
and try to tell them that Christianity isn't Jewish. You absolutely
He death threats pagans. Yeah, this guy has me blocked. Didn't even know who he was. Has me blocked. All these guys are fucking coping disinfo peddlers.
Literally worship the Jewish Messiah. I'm telling you, Jewish covenants, and you're over here LARPing like you're some Gentile revolutionary.
This dude is sounding white like his fucking nose.
You guys have no idea the role you're playing. You guys are unwitting foot soldiers for the esoteric priest class.
Yeah, just let it go.
That understands that this is actually a cosmic war against Yahweh. At least they admit, they say, yeah, this is a war against Yahweh. The Christian LARPers
down with Yahweh.
Just let this nigger
Donnie, I have a simple question for you, buddy.
No, I'm trying to find more fun.
Like, this is a joke.
They can't address any of the points he's saying. They just call him names, say he's on drugs, just a bunch of slander and lies.
Man.
Donnie, can I ask you a simple question, bud?
Sure.
Yeah, are you basically like paid by Israel to
you're paid. Are you guys paid by Russia to promote kosher Christian disinformation?
So you can defend them when the criticism comes against them from all sides, to make it like we're part of Trump's minion army? Is that like your whole agenda?
Yeah, I'm definitely paid by Israel. What a clown. I'm not paid by anyone, dude. I speak the way I do because I believe the Bible. Can I respond?
And yet at the same time claiming he was the Antichrist.
I was a Trump influencer since 2016. Okay, that's literally been my entire adult life was Trump influencing. And when I finally understood what was really happening, I made this account. Okay, like it's not some big secret. It's not some big secret.
Spin up this account is what you're telling us.
Yeah. Israel paid me to spin up this account. No, listen.
Okay, yeah, a whole lot of cope, and then they blocked him. Listen to this. Mark
Iran
Levin.
And the regime.
More like Levin.
The Middle East is filled with terrorists and terrorist regimes. Americans do not like Iran and the regime that runs it. They're terrorists. They keep threatening to destroy us and our friends, the Israelis. They're trying to get nuclear weapons and put them on intercontinental ballistic missiles. We reject it. I speak for tens of millions of red-blooded Americans. I speak for Christians and Jews and others alike. This is the view of the American people. That's number one. Americans hate Hamas. We hate terrorists, butchers, Nazis. We hate men that kill babies, that decapitate babies.
How many babies has Netanyahu killed?
That rape women and burn people
Your buddy
alive
Netanyahu.
and attack young teenagers at festivals. We hate them. We despise them. We got real questions about Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia's role in 9/11. And the more that comes out, as the FBI just released some information about 6 to 8 months ago, the worse it looks that Saudi Arabia did in fact have a hand in helping al-Qaeda attack us and kill over 2,000 of our fellow citizens. That's what we Americans reject and believe. We know who the good guys are. 80% of us support the state of Israel, our holy land for Jews and Christians. And most of us despise the terrorist and the terrorist regimes, all of which are one form of dictatorship or another. So that's the foundation. Let's begin there. If only Israel would accept the Palestinian state as a condition of Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords, if that's a condition, then who cares if they join the Abraham Accords? Accept the ceasefire with Qatar-funded Hamas, so Hamas, you see, can rebuild and strike Israel again. That's not going to happen, whether Qatar likes it or not. Accept the deal with Iran that does not fully dismantle their nuclear program. That better damn well not happen either.
It's funny how this Jew on Fox News, that's the Homeland Security also now, cares so much more about everything for Israel. Let's see here. Ben Shapiro criticizes Trump and Witkoff for Hamas deal. Okay, let's hear. Oh, it's 9 minutes. I can't handle 9 minutes. American support for Israel is literally at record lows. We've been seeing a lot of polls about this too. That helps the Trump turning its back, or America turning its back on Israel narrative. I know, it's so stupid they say he's Dustin Nemosing when they're the ones that do the Dustin Nemosing. We're the real Jews. Jesus wasn't Jewish. Did I play this one last stream?
You know, as Catholics, we believe Jews are going to be around until the end of time. And so I'm not out for, and of course they still have the original covenant with God that is still valid in some sense.
What do I always say? Christianity ensures the survival of Judaism until the end times, and they affirm and validate the Jewish covenant. Imagine being the supposed like leading anti-Semite in the world, and you say,
and of course they still have the original covenant with God.
Imagine confirming their covenant and saying,
you know, as Catholics, we believe Jews are going to be around until the end of time.
They're going to be, they have to be around until the end of time, until Jesus returns, so they can convert. And they're, in fact, in order for them to be around to the end of time, that means they have to reject Jesus until the end of time. But then you're mad that they reject him. Christian-controlled ops are such trash. Fuentes would be so much better if he just dropped the Catholic shit. See through it all, says, cover this. Catholic Church says their Messiah won't come until the Jews recognize him. Imagine being this religiously cucked. And then Paul says, like, Christians are just to, like, worship the Messiah so much to make the Jews envious. Like, that's the point. And if the Jews didn't reject Jesus and transgress and cut off the natural branches, the Gentiles couldn't have their salvation and be grafted in to the Jewish covenants and the Yahweh Moshiach worship. This is how Christian nationalism inevitably ends. This is from the event, the multicultural Christian event in England, right? Our Jewish king seated in our majesty, all the goyim of the world worshiping their Jewish king. Nothing the Jews hate more than that. This is how we win.
She said, a lump has disappeared. The lump has gone. Come on, praise Jesus. Fire of the Holy Spirit. Fire of the Holy Spirit. Declare after me. Say, Heavenly Father, fill me with the fire of the Holy Ghost. Lord, fill
Black preacher.
with fresh oil.
Is he black?
Fill me. She said, I love.
Is this the same Lord's Army, people? Lot of controversy going on Twitter about Kanye and the multicultural alliance of Jew haters and the Christian Muslim alliance, Jews hate Jesus people. All right, that is all we have for today. Didn't even meet half the goal. No big deal. No big deal. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be working on the book the rest of the day. Oh, I'm going to be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, with Archaics for an interview. Should be good. Should be an interesting talk. Archaics is a big YouTuber. Some of you may have heard of him. So I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about the unfolding of Gog and Magog and the Trump in America abandoning Israel narrative. No rabbi clips. Wednesday, I have a rabbi clip. There's a big YouTube video that came out about Chabad and Orthodox Judaism, so I want to watch that and play that on stream. That'll be Wednesday. And let me know what you think about NapkinGate and all the Russia shills and their role in all of this. And I hope you guys all have a nice... What's my take on the cocaine? It wasn't cocaine. It's a napkin. Oh, look at my cocaine. Look at my 8-ball. It was a napkin. Anyway, appreciate everybody for the support. I love you all. I hope you guys have a nice day. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. Take care. Hail the old gods, down with Yahweh. Down with Yahweh.